Okay guys, here we go again. Like I said, I got this custom tutorial for you guys. This is just really quick, a little something I wanted to throw together. Just like you guys, super busy with a bunch of work tonight, but I decided I'd take a second to just show off a couple of key skills I wanted to go over in class, a couple of things that I think will help you guys all out with. So I put together this model right here, and this is a super simple little just kind of generic representation of what a lot of you are dealing with some of your USB forms, okay? And I'm just going to use my timeline bar right here to just scroll through the workflow that I've got going so far, okay? So I started out with nothing, right? And then I started out with a little boss extrude. Look at this. Okay, I started out with a little sketch just like this. Right? Okay, and that's how that went. So here's my original sketch, just like that. I can edit the sketch and show you guys how I did this. Right? I just started out with a curve that I set a horizontal relationship to and a vertical relationship to, and then I mirrored it across the center line. And so I just started out with a simple sketch just like that. Okay? So there's that. Okay, so exit out of that, and let me just pull down again. Next thing I did is I added a boss extrude to that, and I just made a little tombstone just like that. Okay? Super simple. Next thing, filleted one side. Okay? I filleted the back side here. Okay? And that's something to actually talk about here. I'm building one part at a time. Okay? I've got my top plane. I'm going to go and just show this top plane so you can see how I was working. Okay? I started out by building my sketch on the top plane, and then I extruded down from there like this, down off the top plane. And the reason I did that is because I want to use the top plane as a work surface to put all of my sketches that are going to then cut and dig away at the little hockey puck thing that I've got here, okay? So there's that, all right? So next thing I did is I'm trying to get the back surface. This is the underside surface that would sit on the table, and so I added some fillets. Now I lucked out, and I'm giving you guys a super easy example. I just added a 10mm fillet to the entire surface here, and I'll just clear this selection to show you what I did. I just clicked on that just like that. It was super simple. Actually, that's not what I did. Hold on. I actually just clicked one of these edges, and the as opposed to the entire surface, and it collected the entire edge of the part just like that. Okay, now yours are going to be much more difficult, and a lot of the USBs that you guys have chosen have much more complicated rounded edges than just a simple one-click operation like this. But again, this is just for demo purposes, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and confirm that. There's my backside. All right, there we go. Next thing I did is I just went down here, and I just took my line tool like this. Okay, let me look normal too to show you guys this. And I just started off by just drawing a straight, I drew half of the cutaway from the inside of my part, and then I mirrored it across, right? And then I just put a simple cut extrude on that, right? And I just had that cutaway taken out, all right? The next thing that I did is I came in here with another sketch. Now this sketch was a little bit interesting. I took the original sketch that I used, see this little blue, light blue dotted one that I had used to create the original piece, and I copied and pasted it onto a new sketch, and then I did an offset entities, and then after offsetting it, I had to block it and move it into position. After that, I just pulled down the edges so that it extended past the rest of the model here, okay, and then connected it back together, and then I just applied a cut extrude and just created this nice little lip just like that. So a lot of you folks are dealing with stuff just like this, okay? So that's how you're going to get that sort of a thing. And so you can see here my design tree is not very complicated. I have 3 simple steps and a fillet so far, and I'm good to go. I haven't used any shell or anything like that, and I have the option at any point if I want to come back in here and edit around these details. If I want, like say I wanted to make this section here level or something like that, I could just go in here very simply, level or not level, whatever I want it to be. Okay, edit that, and then my part will update as is. Okay, so you're trying to give yourself a sketch you can work with. Okay, all right, so the things that I wanted to show off today are things just about mirroring your geometry, and then using some features like using the start and end constraints of a boss extrude. Okay, so a lot of you folks have got little pins, and then pins that fit into screw bosses and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and make some of that. So I'm going to start here on my top plane, and again, this is why I've built my model from the top plane down, is because I want to constantly use that top plane to work into my model. Okay, And you can do it the other way, but you're going to be constantly having to flip your model upside down, do work on it, and then when you go to look at it, you're going to be looking at the underside, or you're going to be working on the underside. So I like to work from the top down. It's just me, okay? So I'm going to right-click on the top plane and just open up a new sketch, and I'm going to look normal to the new sketch. All right, and I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw a circle, and I'm going to draw kind of something I've seen in a lot of our, excuse me, I'm going to draw a square. There we go, just like this. All right, voila, just like that. Okay, good. And then I'm going to use trim entities to sort of trim these together. Okay, good. And a lot of you have got these sort of things going in here like that. Now let's take a look at that sketch really quick. Let's see how it's sitting. It's kind of floating in space. The thing I wanted to show you about was the start and end constraints of the boss extrude. So if I wanted to take a boss extrude here, okay, and I wanted to have this sort of shape coming up in here, well, I could go in here and I could designate using the from command here. This tells the boss extrude where to start from. Usually it's always set to sketch plane, but you can have it start from a surface too, okay? Now let's take a look at that. So surface plane, you can select a surface that you want the boss extrude to start from, and then you can have the boss extrude start from here, even though your sketch is up here, okay? Now I'm going to do it, it's going to fail, and then we're going to look at the warning that comes up, and we're going to try to decipher what SolidWorks is trying to tell us, okay? So I'm going to hit the green checkbox, we're going to get a rebuild error, and it says the projection of the sketch on the surface failed. Please check at the sketch. Please check that the sketch is completely within the sketch face plane and that it is projected onto only one face. Okay, good. So the reason that's failing like that, okay, is because if I look normal to the sketch, there we go, you see that this sketch covers two surfaces actually, right? It covers the green one that I have selected, but it also bleeds over into this wall thickness here, okay? So that is what SolidWorks is giving us this rebuild error for. This basically means that you're supposed to check to make sure that the sketch is completely within the surface or the face or the plane, and right now ours is not within the surface, face, or plane. It's covering over two, okay? So if I just take this sketch and I just move it over so that it snaps completely over the entire surface that I'm trying to project from, you can see what it does. See that? So that's the ticket, okay? If you have overlapping sketches that are overlapping across two surfaces, make sure that your sketch is completely covering over the surface you want to start from, and then you can go from there, okay? So this is a big deal, right? So far, a lot of our sketches have been the starting point for our boss extrudes, and now we can realize that we can make sketches off in space and have them start from different places. So that's a big aha. The other command I want to show you is direction 1 over here, right, where it says blind. Right now this is blind, meaning SolidWorks is blind. I can pull this up or down as high as I want to go. But what if I want to pull it exactly to the height of this wall here? Well, how would I do that? Could I just eyeball it? Yeah, that's pretty close. I could kind of get that, but then if I look closely, I kind of missed it. And then what if I want it to go down again? Oh, it's just so hard to get it right. That's kind of right, but on the microscopic level, it might be off. Let me show you another direction, okay? If we add a directional constraint to this and say up to surface, you see how we got all these different directions? You can go up to surface, and then you can select another surface, and it will mathematically predict the starting point being this surface, and it will extend it all the way up until it's the exact height of this surface. Okay, so that's a really big deal. That's mathematically correct. That means if we just approve that, and you can see what it's done, it's extended this boss extrude exactly up to this, and it's melded them together. Okay, so that's amazing, right? So let's go ahead and think about that for a second and how that can help us. Okay. All right, so the other thing that a lot of you are going to want to do is probably want to mirror some of your geometry across to the other side. So let's look at how to do that, okay? So let's go ahead and think about it for a second before we do anything. The first thing we want to think about is, well, let's look at this, right? This piece of geometry has melded into this side, but that piece of geometry is built from a sketch. So given that we've already built this into this, we probably just want to mirror this sketch. Okay, so let me show you a trick. If we go to the sketch that's running this boss extrude and we edit it, okay, and with the sketch open, you see over here that it's open, we can go ahead and we can add a center line to the sketch. All right, and I'm going to look normal too. There we go. We can add a center line to the sketch just like this. And now that we have that center line inside of the sketch here, we can actually mirror this sketch just like this. We'll just highlight it, turn on mirror entities, highlight the sketch you want, go to mirror about, and use this center line that's inside of that sketch to mirror the sketch to the other side. Hit your green checkbox. All right, you've now mirrored the sketch across. Look what happens next. We exit out of that sketch. It applies the boss extrude to both sketches now. Okay, so you want to mirror your sketches, not your features, because let's actually try that, see if we can do it. But that's the quickest way for you to pull that off. Okay, for you to get double features, and a lot of us have symmetrical parts inside. Okay, so let's actually get in here and let me try one more thing before we go. Okay, I just want to actually delete this. There, let's delete that and then look around here. Okay, cool. So with that deleted, let's go here and let's try it the other way and see if see what happens, right? If I go to mirror, all right, and then I remember that I built this part perfectly on my top plane with my front plane and my right plane in the center of my world, I can actually mirror across the right plane. Features to mirror would be this boss extrude. Look at that. It actually does work today. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And today it doesn't. After all, the selected features could not be patterned using geometry pattern. Okay, it doesn't like geometry pattern. Let's uncheck geometry pattern. Okay, without geometry pattern it works. Okay. Sometimes that won't work depending on the complexity of your part, okay? Let's just do a couple more things here and let's just play around with this a little bit more, okay? I'm going to actually go to this surface right here. See that surface that's covering this whole thing? I'm going to right click on that surface and open up a sketch on the surface, and I'm going to look normal too. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just actually grab my circle tool. There we go. I'm going to kind of hover over the edge of this piece here to find the center. And then from the center of that, I'm going to go here. I'm very careful. It's very hard for you guys to see, I'm sure, on this video. But I'm just watching for those little guidelines. I'm waiting to see this scenario right here where I have a guideline going up from the bottom and from the left to the right. And then I'm going to draw a circle right there. There we go. Now you're going to have dimensions on your circle. Okay. There we go. So you can see that circle has now been built directly on that surface itself. Okay, so we've got a curve on the surface, and then with that there like that, I'm just going to do my extruded cut. I can see that it goes down 6 millimeters right here. The depth of yours will be whatever it is, whatever you measure, and so then you can go ahead and just cut that out. And then using the same exact thing, if you build your model correctly and if you build your model on the front and top and right planes, you can continue to use this mirror command plus that right plane right there, features to mirror, cut extrude, mirror it right over, and then you can mirror that side. Okay, so there we go like that. That's that, and then you're good to go. Now we had gone ahead and done this boss extrude so that it came up and it matched right with this surface. Now if we wanted to lower that or if we wanted to angle that, we could always go ahead and hit the space bar. Look at our part from this side. There we go. Come over here. Grab a little square. There we go. It looks like we're going to want to put a some sort of a let's see. Excuse me. Escape. Yeah, look at our part from this angle is where I was starting to talk about. Okay, and say we could draw a square right here and just cut the top off both those pins. So let's think about what planes we've got to work with here. Top, right, front. Okay, so there we go. So let me make a sketch on the front plane. I'm going to go here, go normal 2 from the front plane. I'm going to draw a sketch right in the center here. There we go. There we go. And you can see where that is. That sketch is sitting right on the front plane just like that, okay? it's not really touching anything else, but I can use it to do an extruded cut. And I can cut the top off these parts. Now let's see, let's make sure it's going to work. Come on now. Let's exit out of here. Make sure I know what sketch I'm on. There's the sketch I'm on. Extruded cut. Boom. There we go. A little ahead of myself there. Okay. So I could use an extruded cut just like that to cut those parts down in case I need them a little bit lower. Okay. So that's one way to do that. Delete that. Or I can always also go back to the Boss Extrude that's running right here, that's running this pin right here. I can change the up to surface command, which is making it go all the way up to this surface, to just blind, right? And I can just lower that down to anything I need. Update that, and both of them update because we've got a mirror that's running both those parts. Okay, so two different ways to do two different things, right? You can use a sketch to cut through it, or you can go back to the original feature that's running this thing and adjust that. And as long as your mirrors and everything are set up correctly, as in your model is built on your front and top and right planes centered correctly, then everything should go according to plan. Okay? Okay, so that's going to be it, guys. So we learned some new tricks and stuff in here, how you can just draw sketches directly on surfaces, and then also some other fun stuff as well using our mirror command. And that can be really, really helpful for everybody that's trying to build these very complicated USBs, okay? So good luck to you guys. Send me any questions or concerns that you have. And for Wednesday's class, we're just going to keep plugging away on these, spending every minute of our class trying to get these things as dialed in as possible so that they look super slick for our portfolio. Okay? Okay, good. All right, don't forget to save your work, and I will do the same. And otherwise, don't work too hard and have a nice night. Okay? Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.